Imagine being dropped right into the middle of the harsh wilderness. You've got no comfortable bed, no easy access to food, and you are completely isolated from the outside world. In today's Explainer, we're diving into an absolutely epic 60-day survival battle where 5 men and 5 women were pushed to their absolute physical and psychological limits. We're going to analyze the fascinating source material of this intense challenge to see exactly how 2 teams took wildly different approaches to survival, resource management, and teamwork.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth would anyone put themselves through this kind of misery? Well, for a staggering $500,000. That's why. That massive cash prize immediately elevated this from a tough camping trip into a ridiculously high-pressure survival scenario. Every shiver in the rain, every empty stomach, and every single decision was weighed against a life-changing payout.
Right out of the gate on day 1, the organizers dropped a massive secret weapon and game-changing twist on the competitors. It's a rule called the strategic quit. Basically, if a player leaves the challenge, they actually don't forfeit their money. As long as their team is the last one standing, they still get their equal share of the prize. This one rule completely transformed the challenge from a pure test of physical endurance into a ruthless, psychological chess match. It was no longer just about who could suffer the longest, it was about who could outsmart the other side.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the Wilderness Survival Challenge, then 2 very different strategies. After that, the Turning Point Challenges, followed by the Final Showdown, and finally, the ultimate winner.
Okay, Section 1, the Wilderness Survival Challenge. Let's look at the harsh reality of those first few days.
Right off the bat, an immediate divide formed between the 2 camps. On the women's side, they quickly got to work constructing a really solid waterproof teepee and even managed to locate a clean water source nearby. They were setting themselves up to thrive. The men, on the other hand, they slapped together a hasty shelter out of the first twigs they could find. And worse, to get water, they were forced into a brutal 2-mile hike through the woods, only to find a filthy swamp. So right from day 1, the men were burning massive amounts of calories and morale just to get basic necessities, while the women were conserving their energy.
Moving on to Section 2, 2 very different strategies. This is all about managing food rations.
By day 3, the women made this brilliant, totally calculated realization. 5 people eating from one finite stash of food is just completely unsustainable for a long-term game. So they decided to tactically sacrifice players. Hannah actually stepped up, packed her bags, and executed the first strategic quit. She sacrificed her own spot to stretch the rations for the rest of her team, perfectly playing the long game to secure that $500,000 bag.
Now juxtapose the women's highly calculated strategy with the men's camp. The men made literally 0 plans for rationing. They just tried to tough it out together, burning thousands of calories in the process. And the result? Despair. By day 13, physical exhaustion and sleep deprivation led to emotional, completely unplanned quits. Cameron hit his breaking point and tapped out. He wasn't leaving to save food for his team, he was leaving because his body and mind simply couldn't take it anymore.
Section 3, the Turning Point Challenges. This is where the intense pressure really starts cooking. Look at this early attrition rate. It's absolutely devastating. But you really have to notice the reasons behind the exits. Hannah and Talia left the women's team strategically, which left the remaining members with an absolute abundance of food. Meanwhile, the men suffered from chaotic burnout. Cameron left from exhaustion, Sami from a mental breakdown, and Josh tapped out due to an unbearable case of poison ivy. By day 17, the men's strategy of just sticking together was falling apart at the seams.
So we hit a crucial turning point on day 20 during a massive rainstorm. The challenge forces a brutal dilemma. A player can win a massive, waterproof, bug-proof tent for their camp, but only if they eliminate themselves. Julia from the women's team, she doesn't even hesitate. She takes the tent, eliminating herself, leaving Phaedra as the sole remaining woman, but now she's living in absolute comfort, with months' worth of food. Over on the men's side, TJ actually rejects the tent. He chooses companionship, wanting to stay in the game with his teammate Patrick. He actively trades vital shelter for camaraderie.
But here's the kicker. While rejecting the tent, TJ secretly spots that only one woman, Phaedra, actually showed up to the bridge. He rushes back to tell Patrick, giving the men this massive false sense of security. They assume that because it's 2 men versus 1 woman, they've got the game in the bag. They completely miss the brilliant irony of the game's information asymmetry. Because Phaedra is alone, she is sitting on a mountain of hoarded resources and a luxury tent, while the 2 men are still splitting meager rations out in the mud.
To be fair, the men do rally for a bit. They actually managed to hunt crawdads and snapping turtles. living off the land in a way the women really hadn't. Their bond is strong. But on day 30, an unexpected psychological blow totally destroys their camaraderie advantage. A massive bear visits the men's camp in the middle of the night. It's just too much for Patrick. Terrified by the close encounter, he eliminates himself. And just like that, all the men's endurance and loyalty strategies evaporate. TJ is left completely alone.
Section 4. The Final Showdown. It all comes down to isolation and willpower.
This right here is where those differing philosophies really clash. On day 50, both players are gifted chocolate bars. But there's a secret. Hidden inside the wrappers are maps leading to 3 extra days of food for whoever gets there first. Phaedra, who has plenty of food and feels absolutely no need to strictly ration, eats hers immediately, finds the map, and claims the prize. TJ, playing with forced endurance and extreme rationing, saves his chocolate. He waits an entire week before opening it, only to find the map way too late. His extreme discipline actually cost him a massive, game-winning strategic advantage. It's a stark reminder that in survival, and honestly in our everyday lives, sometimes oversaving resources can be just as dangerous as overspending them.
Fast forward to day 60, and the mental and physical toll is just immense. They meet up for a negotiation challenge. The rule is they can request any item, but the other player has to approve it. Phaedra, who is comfortable but bored, asks for an art kit. TJ, starving and desperate, approves it. But then TJ swings for the fences and requests a 7-day private chef. Phaedra, knowing exactly what she is doing, denies his request. It's a brutal, highly calculated move designed to literally starve out her opponent. She knows he's right on the brink.
Section 5. The ultimate winner. The dramatic result of 60 days of grueling choices.
Denied that vital food, TJ just hits an absolute wall. He reads this heartbreaking concession right into the radio. "I will run out of rations tomorrow. I had everyone's hopes and dreams on my back. I think I'm going to have to put that stone down." It's tragic, really, but inevitable. His body had simply run out of fuel, and the mental burden of carrying the men's team alone finally broke him.
So, TJ eliminates himself, and that means the women's team actually wins the challenge. Because of that incredible strategic quit rule we talked about earlier, every single one of the 5 women takes home an equal $100,000 share of the $500,000 prize. It is just a phenomenal testament to their gameplay. Strategic sacrifice and long-term resource management completely defeated the men's strategy of forced endurance and trying to brute force the wilderness.
It really makes you think about human psychology and teamwork under extreme pressure, doesn't it? So I want to leave you with this to consider. If you were dropped into those woods on day 1, would you have had the foresight and, honestly, the humility to sacrifice your spot early, walking away to guarantee your team's ultimate victory? Or would your pride have forced you to stay until the bitter end? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the strategies around you.